there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to the bunker. And as you can see from the title of this video, the days are numbered where I can actually say that, because the long-term plan is to quit the bunker. It's not going to happen immediately. And I realize many of you will be very fond of the bunker, and still more of you may be wondering why on earth I would be quitting the bunker, perhaps even theorizing as to why that might be. I'm making this video just to manage expectations and explain what's happening, be fully transparent about why it is that we need at some point to stop filming here. Again, it's not going to happen straight away, but please expect certain videos or increasing videos of mine in the future to not be in the bunker. It's nothing nefarious. It's nothing scandalous. It's purely that, how can I put it? Well, the bunker is not just called the bunker. It is literally a basement that is partially subterranean. And when we first created the bunker, we noticed that there was a problem with moisture. Now, to begin with, we were able to largely keep the problem under control using a dehumidifier, which is running all the time behind me. But the problem never really went away. It was just manageable. Then when we expanded the bunker, it just seemed to exacerbate the whole dampness issue. And how can I put it? We have a massive, massive mold problem. And just for thrills, just because I am a little bit sadistic, at this point, I'm going to ask Tibor to show you some footage. I'm actually going to ask Tibor as an official task to film mold. So as I'm talking now, you can see, because Tibor is being incredibly gracious, you can see Tibor's footage of the mold in various parts of the bunker. You might be watching this thinking, this is just you being bone idle, Lloyd. Why aren't you just cleaning said mold? Well, hopefully it should be obvious from this footage that it's more than simply a case of cleaning or lack of cleaning. In fact, the mold has been cleaned an awful lot. It's just that it keeps coming back. And that's because there is an underlying dampness problem, again, due to the fact that the bunker is partly subterranean. And when we built the bunker, we didn't really know about how bad the dampness issue was. Otherwise, well, we did actually, I remember we did do some moisture proofing. We put in moisture barriers, but clearly those moisture barriers aren't working properly, or they're not working in the way we intended. In any case, it should be obvious that fundamentally, this is not a good working environment. It's not a good environment for me to be spending lots of time in. Bear in mind, it usually takes hours to film one of the longer rebuttals. Hours of breathing in air that has mold particles in it. It's not good for my health. It's not good for Tibor's health when he's working here. And it's a problem that has ultimately beaten us. So long term, I guess ever since Tibor and I started working together, we've been discussing the fact that ideally the filming of videos for the Lloyd Evans channel needs to be done somewhere else, because even without the mold issue, this is a tiny, tiny workspace. Hopefully it's obvious from some of the footage you've seen, for example, on the interview videos where you get more of the backdrop. It's a very, very small space. And when you're filming in a small space, you're quite limited in where you can position the lighting and that sort of thing. It feels like the Lloyd Evans channel has outgrown the bunker, even without the mold issue, in terms of just how much space there is in this place. And the mold issue is serious, not just from a health point of view, but as you can see behind me, and just for those of you who keep saying, oh, it's a green screen, I'm touching the book, I'm taking out a green book. There you go. Behind me, I have lots of very old books, some going right back to the beginning of the 20th century. I think my oldest book is a 1902 Millennial Dawn. Actually, that's my oldest Watchtower publication. 1902 Millennial Dawn, The Divine Plan of the Ages. And I have even older books than that, related in some way to Jehovah's Witnesses, that go right back into the 19th century. So it's quite an important collection of materials. I am quite often asked, why do you keep all of these books, Lloyd? They contain utter nonsense. And yes, I'm aware of that. I just think that they're incredibly useful, and hopefully you'll have seen this for yourself in my videos. It's incredibly useful when I'm discussing a particular teaching that doesn't make sense, or some scandal of Jehovah's Witness history. It's very, very useful to be able to show the material itself on camera. It adds so much credibility to my videos. And my fear is that the longer I keep these books in this unstable environment from the point of view of moisture and mold, the more risky it is and the more damage I potentially expose them to. For the time being, they seem to be okay, because this wall is an exterior wall. So whereas the mold side is, again, basically subterranean, on that side, if we were to break through this wall, it would be sunlight, it would be open air, and there doesn't seem to be too much of a moisture issue on this wall. Added to the moisture problem, I can't believe I'm giving you all this information about how bad the bunker is, and it's kind of embarrassing the more I think about it. But there's another issue on top of the mold, and it's also moisture related. Whenever we get a massive downpour, water tends to come very quickly down the hill. And for a while, it didn't seem to be too much of a problem for the bunker. But over the last 6 to 12 months, it seems that every time there's a massive downpour or there is prolonged rain, the water literally floods into the bunker. Now, it's not like a foot of water. It's, but it is a significant amount. I think, let's say 5 millimeters to, in some cases, a centimeter of water. Sometimes I've opened the door to the bunker and stepped inside and splash, on the side where the books are. Now, fortunately, you can't see on camera, but there's maybe 10 centimeters of clearance between the floor and where the bottom row of books is. So, as far as I can tell, the books haven't been damaged, but we have had damage elsewhere in the bunker where we've had, I remember once we had some flat pack furniture from IKEA that was resting against the wall on the floor, and we ended up having to throw away that box of, it was actually some drawers for my desk. I was really looking forward to having some drawers for my desk, but they got ruined by floodwater. So that's another reason why the bunker is increasingly unappealing as a filming studio. Not just unappealing, but ultimately unsafe. Because it's never pleasant when there's a coming together of water, literal like puddles of water, and electricity, because obviously with the lights and everything, there are power cables around, and there's all sorts of potential for terrible things to happen, bearing in mind as well that in addition to being a YouTuber and creator and writer, I'm also a boss. I'm also an employer of an employee. And I hate the idea of anything happening to Tibor, not just from a liability point of view, but because he's such a swell guy. So those are the reasons why you will be seeing less and less content from the bunker. Again, it's not an instant thing. We're not switching off the lights just yet. I'm sure when we film our final bunker video, there will be a lot more fanfare than you're going to get in this video. But that's ultimately the plan. Again, I'm managing your expectations. Expect there to be sporadically videos moving forward that are not filmed in the bunker, maybe even longer rebuttal videos. Think of when my family and I were displaced due to the earthquake. I had to do quite a lot of filming in a completely different place. There's going to be more of that moving forward, and the production values may go up and down a little bit because I'm not always going to have access to the equipment I'm using here in the bunker. I'm going to have to improvise a little bit with lighting and cameras and that sort of thing in wherever it is I'm filming. But, you know, these are the reasons. It's nothing else. There's nothing stopping me otherwise from filming videos here. It's just that the bunker is increasingly undesirable as a filming location, and thus future videos will not all be filmed here. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I had to share with you. In terms of like the long term, do we have an alternative location set up or in mind? We're thinking about it. Wherever it is that we move to, I would like to move the books with me. I'd like the books to be in a safe location where they're not going to be disturbed. They're not going to be constantly moved around from one place to another. I'd like a nice, settled studio location. I have in my mind sort of like an industrial vibe, you know, maybe like a disused factory or something. I don't know. But lots of space for equipment, lots of space for Tibor to show his skills when it comes to lighting and that sort of thing, because he's quite a wizard with lighting and getting the angles right and the light levels right and that sort of thing. He keeps banging on about photons. Bless him. He knows a lot. So I want to give him a blank canvas, as it were, to continue to improve the production values. We don't have a location lined up yet, but when I know more, when we have somewhere in mind, I'm sure I will drop a quick video onto the channel. I should just thank my patrons, my hundreds of patrons, for supporting this channel so that I even can consider moving somewhere else. I mean, all of the production values, all of the equipment that we're using ultimately is paid for or has been paid for by patrons. So a big shout out to the patrons for making it possible for me to have this equipment, have a video editor who does a fantastic job, and also have the flexibility to think about renting other places. So yes, we shall see what happens. Stay tuned for more developments on that front. But that now is really all I have to say. I hope you found this video remotely entertaining. Don't forget that you can watch similar videos by subscribing to the Lloyd Evans channel. But for now, take care and thank you so much for watching.